Quick, this is the gyrus bipolar button. It's basically a cystoscope with a working element that goes inside of it. It's relatively straightforward. It looks complicated. It's really not. But the potential pitfalls of this tray are coming from upstairs, as people have experienced, is this working element and this wire. This working element.
I cleaned that the other day in Depot. On
It
accident.
happens, it happens. Goes on this scope like this. Then you got your working channel. And if you ever have to assemble these, they're little bevels and they only go one way. And there's an inflow arrow and an outflow arrow. Arrow and arrow. The techs upstairs will forget to take this apart. It'll come like this. Usually the valves, one will be open, one will be closed. Do they know? Probably not as well as I do, but it comes with experience. This only goes together one way. So this is how a full resectoscope assembled looks when you get it. You get all these calls and craziness. If you get these wires and they're still on, this is a bipolar unit. This is all disposable. That little loop comes out of the end and that does the cutting upstairs. Okay. So this is a completely set up, operable scope. Every once in a while, the GYN scopes will get mixed up into it because they look relatively similar. And at first glance, if you look at it, you're like, oh, here's your scope, you grab it, you throw it in. The hysteroscopes are smaller in diameter, the same length, but the caveat to these is this right here. And I always say, if you don't know, put it together. Because if it's wrong, it will not go in. There is like a 1 millimeter difference in this spike in the location of this spike. Same scope company, Olympus, and it will go in. It shouldn't go in. This is bent. Usually it hits right here. The scope is bent is why it goes in. It shouldn't fit at all. See how it should hit. That's the wrong scope. If the scope doesn't fit, you've got the wrong scope. Same thing with going through the holes. If they don't fit, you got to ask yourself, is this the right part? So make sure you check your numbers. But primarily what I'm here for is to keep you from getting sabotaged from upstairs. They'll take this off. They'll leave these two together. And you'll have the element like we saw earlier this week. The element's in there. This thing's still in there. And if you don't know how it goes together, you can always call me. But you got to count your parts. If you're missing a part, 9 times out of 10, something's still together. And I've done it. I've left this together. I've left the elements in there. This isn't anything new. No one's done anything that no one else has ever done before. It happens. But we have to be careful starting upstairs and passing it on to you guys.
So how did you take that piece out?
This little wire.
Yes.
So if you come, I brought you a clean one so nobody had to handle a dirty one. But there's a little button right here on this side. It just clicks in. And to get it out, you just push it. It's a little rubber button, and it comes right out.
Okay.
This part here, the other channel that I had on, or the scope release, that's the one I want to show you. This scope release button, you can pull, and you're like, this won't come off, it won't come off. There's a little tiny dot.
Oh,
like, it's so small, like, it just makes no sense that it's that small, because, it looks like it just belongs to part of this element. But this is the release to it right here to get that scope out.
Okay.
If you pull hard enough, it will come out, but it's not good for the scope. These are visual obturators. Why do we need them? Because if you're going into somebody that's got a stricture and they want to be able to watch where they're going, this part is what's critical for it. It goes together on this scope just like this piece would, but without the resectoscope part. Make sure I get it all right. Again, that fits in here. I'm going to take Lori's hysteroscope. and they shouldn't mate together, but and this is also smaller. There's another scope too. These pins will hit and it won't let it in, and they're off just by ever so small. Hers sticks out a little further. Mine probably does too. Nope, see, it's flat. Do you see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the scope that's supposed to be in there. We'll grab hers. And see how that sticks out?
Yeah.
So there's no law about not being able to play with this stuff, but this scope would then be put together like this. It goes in, the lens goes in, and they use this visually to get inside to where they need to go. This is the dilator. If you can't get that in, goes in like this, and this is to help guide through the prostate. This is the biopsy forceps that go to this set. Again, with another lens inside. That's how that comes. So if it comes down like this, somebody didn't take it apart. These pieces are all relatively easy to take out. They just have to know what you're looking for. There are a lot of parts to this, and it looks super scary. It's not. This is another working channel. They all just click in. Just make sure your valves are open, that this is all taken apart. The funny part is this rubber thing is obsolete. It was used 100,000 years ago whenever I was a young scrub tech using these. These are the old non-disposable Elic evacuators. Goes on the end. This is filled full of saline. It attaches to the end of this scope. You squeeze this bulb, and then it would bring all the parts, and they would collect in this jar. Take this bulb off, you dump out the pieces, you fill it back up, put it back on, and you keep pumping it. And that's how you would evacuate a bladder, whether it be with a hematoma or chips from a prostate or a bladder tumor. So that's what this is for.
But do every set have that piece?
No.
Okay. But it can go up without.
To a certain extent, the answer is no.
Okay.
However, this particular part, there's a notch in it. And when I first got it, I was like, something's wrong with this set, because this is supposed to click in to the end of this, and it's on this one. The other set, inside here, there are these screws. Well, the new set, one of them protrudes out, and this will only go on one way. I've had Dr. Schwan call me in the room, hey, this is the wrong Elic, it's broken, this thing's broken, and I'm like, no, there's a screw in there, and it has to fit over that notch. And once it does, it's great. This piece is critical due to the fact that the Elics that we use now are disposable. They just clip onto the back, and it comes with a rubber tube. So if you don't see this rubber tube, don't panic. It's still on the count sheet, it needs to be taken off.
I can take it out.
Take it off, and we won't worry about this anymore. And I don't know the specifics on whether it should be sterilized with this on or off.
Everything should be apart.
And so we'll make that go away. But this piece, this number, this WA33026A, that's the part that we need. There's Olympus sent us all sorts of crazy things. This one here fits in this other channel part that I've got over here. And you can make an Elic from upstairs work. It's not ideal. It sucks a lot of air. They get all upset. So if this is missing, it's not critical. But that's it. That's the highlights of this thing. But don't let OR sabotage you with a wire.
Okay.
That will get you. It gets us. But it starts upstairs. They've had to talk too. So thank you guys very much. Sorry to take so much of your time.
No, you're fine. It's cool to know this stuff. It's
You're
good.
welcome.
Thank you.